Question 1. An Agile team is struggling with frequent changes to requirements mid-sprint, leading to missed commitments. What is the most effective Agile practice to address this issue proactively? A. Implement stricter change control processes similar to traditional projects. B. Increase the length of sprints to absorb unexpected changes. C. Enhance backlog refinement and stakeholder collaboration before and during sprint planning. D. Assign a dedicated business analyst to manage all requirement changes. Answer: C. Enhance backlog refinement and stakeholder collaboration before and during sprint planning. Frequent mid-sprint requirement changes indicate a lack of clarity and agreement up front, making enhanced backlog refinement and stakeholder collaboration the most effective proactive solution. Backlog refinement ensures that user stories are well understood, estimated, and prioritized before a sprint begins, reducing the likelihood of last-minute surprises. By involving stakeholders actively in this process, their input is gathered early and their expectations are better managed, leading to more stable sprint commitments. For example, regularly reviewing upcoming stories with the product owner and key users can prevent scope creep during development. A well-groomed backlog is a team's best defense against unexpected changes. Question 2. A large enterprise is transitioning to Agile. Several traditional project managers are concerned about losing their authority and control. Which Agile principle should be emphasized to address their concerns while fostering a successful transition? A. Self-organizing teams are solely responsible for all decision-making. B. The project manager's role evolves into that of a servant leader, facilitating and removing impediments. C. Agile eliminates the need for project managers entirely, distributing their responsibilities. D. Strict adherence to the original project charter is maintained, with no deviation. Answer: B. The project manager's role evolves into that of a servant leader, facilitating and removing impediments. In an Agile environment, the traditional project manager's role transforms significantly from a command and control approach to that of a servant leader. This shift addresses concerns about authority loss by reframing their contribution as enabling the team and removing obstacles, rather than dictating tasks. A servant leader supports the team's self-organization and growth, fostering an environment where value can be delivered efficiently. For example, a former project manager might now help facilitate daily stand-ups, resolve inter-team dependencies, or protect the team from external distractions. This evolution emphasizes leadership through service, empowering teams while still providing essential guidance and support. Question 3. During a sprint review, stakeholders express dissatisfaction because the increment delivered, while functional, does not meet their current highest priority needs. What does this situation primarily indicate about the team's Agile process? A. The team's velocity is too low to meet stakeholder expectations. B. The product owner may not be effectively representing stakeholder value. C. The Scrum Master is failing to protect the team from external interference. D. The development team is not skilled enough to implement complex features. Answer: B. The product owner may not be effectively representing stakeholder value. When delivered increments fail to meet the highest priority needs, it points to a breakdown in how value is being defined and communicated to the development team, which is the product owner's primary responsibility. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team and managing the product backlog, including its ordering and refinement. This situation suggests that the product owner might not be effectively translating stakeholder requirements into actionable, prioritized backlog items or ensuring the team understands the current market demands. For instance, they might have prioritized less impactful features over those with higher business value. Ensuring the product owner has a deep understanding of stakeholder needs is crucial for delivering the right product. Question 4. An Agile team is experiencing analysis paralysis during story refinement, spending excessive time discussing every minute detail before development begins. Which Agile principle or technique would be most effective in moving the team forward? A. Just-in-time, JIT, analysis and progressive elaboration. B. Creating comprehensive documentation for all requirements. C. Implementing a strict fixed-price contract to limit scope changes. D. Increasing the number of stakeholders involved in refinement sessions. Answer: A. Just-in-time, JIT, analysis and progressive elaboration. Analysis paralysis, or over-specifying requirements too early, is counter to Agile principles, which advocate for just-in-time analysis and progressive elaboration. This approach means that details are explored and refined only when they are immediately needed for development, reducing waste and allowing for adaptation as understanding evolves. By embracing progressive elaboration, the team gains enough information to start work on a story, knowing that more details can be added or adjusted later when the implementation is closer. For example, instead of defining every edge case for a feature at the outset, they might focus on the core user flow and address exceptions closer to their development. Embracing just enough planning enables faster progress and better responsiveness to change. Question 5. A Scrum team has a conflict where a developer insists on perfect code quality, leading to significant delays, while the product owner prioritizes speed to market. What is the best Agile approach to resolve this tension? A. The Scrum Master should dictate a compromise between speed and quality. B. The product owner should override the developer's quality concerns for the sake of delivery. C. The team should collectively define a definition of done that balances quality and release goals. D. The developer should be coached to deliver less than perfect code to meet deadlines. Answer: C. The team should collectively define a definition of done that balances quality and release goals. Resolving the tension between speed and quality requires a clear, shared understanding of what constitutes a complete and acceptable increment, which is precisely the purpose of a definition of done, DoD. The DoD is a commitment that the entire Scrum team collaboratively creates, outlining the quality standards and activities required for a product backlog item to be considered done. This ensures that both speed and essential quality are considered and agreed upon, preventing individual interpretations from causing conflict. For instance, the DoD might include specific unit test coverage, integration testing, and documentation requirements, ensuring a baseline of quality is consistently met. Establishing a robust DoD helps teams align on their shared commitment to both value and quality. Question 6. A new Agile team is consistently struggling with estimation, leading to inaccurate sprint forecasts and difficulty in planning. What is the most beneficial initial step for the Scrum Master to facilitate? A. Require individual team members to commit to specific story point totals. B. Introduce complex mathematical models for predicting future velocity. C. Facilitate a session for the team to use relative sizing techniques like planning poker. D. Assign estimation tasks to the most experienced developer on the team. Answer: C. Facilitate a session for the team to use relative sizing techniques like planning poker. When a new Agile team struggles with estimation, facilitating a session using relative sizing techniques like planning poker is the most beneficial initial step. This technique encourages collaborative discussion and leverages the collective wisdom of the entire team to estimate the effort or complexity of user stories, moving away from time-based estimates which are often inaccurate. Planning poker helps uncover hidden assumptions, fosters shared understanding, and leads to more accurate and reliable estimates over time as the team calibrates. For example, instead of saying a task takes 2 days, they'll compare it to a small or medium story they've already completed. Consistent use of such techniques builds team cohesion and improves their forecasting ability. Question 7. An Agile team discovers a significant defect in a recently released feature during a customer feedback session. The team's immediate response should be to A. Prioritize fixing the defect immediately and add it to the current sprint backlog. B. Document the defect and add it to the product backlog for the product owner to prioritize. C. Roll back the release to the previous stable version to prevent further customer impact. D. conduct a root cause analysis before deciding on any action. Answer: B. Document the defect and add it to the product backlog for the product owner to prioritize. Discovering a defect requires a structured approach in Agile, and the most appropriate immediate response is to document it and add it to the product backlog for the product owner to prioritize. While fixing it is crucial, the product owner is responsible for maximizing value and managing the backlog, meaning they need to weigh the defect's urgency against other high-priority features. This ensures that the fix is addressed within the overall product strategy, rather than disrupting ongoing sprint work without strategic alignment. For example, a critical security vulnerability would likely be prioritized immediately, while a minor UI glitch might wait for the next sprint. The product owner's role is to ensure all work aligns with overall product goals and customer value. Question 8. A key stakeholder is consistently bypassing the product owner and directly assigning tasks to individual development team members. What should the Scrum Master do? A. Ask the stakeholder to stop, as it disrupts team focus and the product owner's authority. B. Coach the product owner on stakeholder management and reinforcing their role. C. Allow it, as long as the tasks contribute to the overall project goal. D. Escalate the issue to senior management to enforce Agile principles. Answer: B. Coach the product owner on stakeholder management and reinforcing their role. When a stakeholder bypasses the product owner, the Scrum Master's most effective immediate action is to coach the product owner on stakeholder management and reinforcing their role as the single point of contact for product backlog decisions. This empowers the product owner to assert their authority and manage expectations effectively, rather than the Scrum Master acting as a mere gatekeeper. The Scrum Master's role is to serve the product owner by helping them find techniques for effective product backlog management. For instance, the Scrum Master could help the product owner communicate their role clearly to stakeholders and set up regular communication channels. Equipping the product owner with these skills is a sustainable solution for maintaining product integrity and team focus. Question 9. An Agile team is performing well, but a few team members are increasingly becoming specialists, leading to knowledge silos and reduced flexibility. What practice would best foster cross-functionality and shared learning? A. Mandate that all team members rotate roles on a monthly basis. B. Encourage pair programming and mob programming. C. Implement strict individual performance metrics based on task completion. D. Hire more generalist developers to balance the team's skill set. Answer: B. Encourage pair programming and mob programming. To combat knowledge silos and promote cross-functionality within an Agile team, encouraging practices like pair programming and mob programming is highly effective. These collaborative techniques involve multiple team members working together on the same task, facilitating immediate knowledge transfer, shared understanding of the code base, and collective ownership. By working side by side, developers learn from each other's expertise and approaches, reducing reliance on individual specialists and building a more resilient, versatile team. For example, two developers might work together on a complex feature, one typing while the other reviews and offers insights. Promoting these practices organically strengthens the team's collective skills and adaptability. Question 10. During a sprint retrospective, the team identifies that external dependencies are frequently blocking their progress. What is the most appropriate action for the team and Scrum Master to take? A. Formally document the dependencies and report them to the project management office. B. Add extra buffer time to all future sprint tasks to account for delays. C. Proactively engage with external teams and stakeholders to manage and mitigate these dependencies. D. Insist that the product owner prioritize only stories without external dependencies. Answer: C. Proactively engage with external teams and stakeholders to manage and mitigate these dependencies. When external dependencies consistently hinder progress, the most appropriate Agile action is to proactively engage with the relevant external teams and stakeholders to manage and mitigate these obstacles. Simply documenting them or adding buffer time doesn't address the root cause of the impediment. The Scrum Master can facilitate these conversations, helping the team identify key contact points, establish clear communication channels, and negotiate solutions or agreements that de-risk future work. For example, they might arrange a meeting with the external API team to clarify integration points and timelines for upcoming features. Actively managing dependencies transforms them from blockers into manageable elements of the project. Question 11. An Agile team has been consistently meeting its sprint commitments, but stakeholders express that the product is not evolving quickly enough to meet market demands. What Agile metric or concept should the product owner focus on to address this? A. Team velocity. B. Burn down charts. C. Cycle time and lead time. D. Business value delivered. Answer: D. Business value delivered. While meeting sprint commitments indicates team efficiency, stakeholder dissatisfaction with the product's evolution suggests a focus on the wrong kind of efficiency, namely, not delivering enough business value. The product owner's primary responsibility is to maximize the value of the product, which means ensuring that the features being built are the ones that truly matter to customers and the market. Rather than just tracking how much is completed, they should focus on metrics and discussions around the actual impact and worth of each increment. For example, they might track customer adoption rates or revenue generated by new features. Maximizing business value delivered, not just throughput, is the true measure of Agile success. Question 12. A new feature requires a complex technical solution that carries significant risk. The team wants to validate the approach quickly and cheaply before committing to full development. Which Agile technique is most suitable for this purpose? A. Creating a detailed technical design document. B. Developing a minimum viable product (MVP). C. Conducting a feasibility study with external consultants. D. Building a spike. Answer: D. Building a spike. When a new feature has high technical risk and requires a quick, cheap validation of a solution, building a spike is the most suitable Agile technique. A spike is a time-boxed research or exploration task undertaken by the team to gain knowledge or answer a specific technical question, often resulting in a prototype or proof of concept rather than shippable code. This focused investigation helps reduce uncertainty and allows the team to make informed decisions about how to proceed with the feature development. For example, they might create a small spike to test the performance of a new database technology before committing to using it across the entire application. Spikes are an effective way to learn just enough to proceed confidently. Question 13. A large, distributed Agile team is struggling with consistent communication and shared understanding across different time zones. Which Agile practice would be most beneficial in improving their collaboration? A. Daily, mandatory 3-hour video conferencing meetings for all team members. B. Relying solely on asynchronous communication tools like email and forums. C. Establishing clear communication norms, leveraging collaboration tools, and fostering a working agreements mindset. D. Appointing a single communication lead to disseminate all information. Answer: C. Establishing clear communication norms, leveraging collaboration tools, and fostering a working agreements mindset. For a distributed Agile team, the most beneficial approach to improve consistent communication and shared understanding is to establish clear communication norms, leverage appropriate collaboration tools, and foster a working agreements mindset. Rather than imposing rigid, long meetings or relying solely on asynchronous methods, this holistic strategy creates a framework for effective interaction. Clear norms might define preferred communication channels for different types of discussions, while collaboration tools can support real-time whiteboarding or shared documentation. Working agreements ensure the team proactively defines how they will communicate and interact, respecting diverse time zones and preferences. For example, they might agree to a specific time for their daily stand-up that works for most, and use a persistent chat tool for ongoing questions. Building these agreements creates a foundation for effective remote teamwork. Question 14. An agile team decides to conduct a hardening sprint at the end of every release cycle to address accumulated technical debt and ensure quality. What does this indicate about their ongoing agile practices? A. It is an effective strategy for ensuring a high-quality product. B. It suggests a potential flaw in their definition of done and continuous integration practices. C. It demonstrates excellent forward-thinking and risk mitigation. D. It is a standard and recommended practice in all agile frameworks. Answer. B. It suggests a potential flaw in their definition of done and continuous integration practices. While seemingly beneficial, the need for a dedicated hardening sprint often indicates a potential flaw in the team's definition of done and continuous integration practices. In truly agile approaches, quality, testing, and addressing technical debt should be integrated continuously throughout each sprint, rather than deferred to a separate phase. A robust definition of done ensures that all necessary quality activities are completed within the sprint, resulting in a potentially shippable increment at the end of every iteration. For instance, if testing is consistently left until the end of a hardening sprint, it means their done criteria for user stories is incomplete. The goal is to avoid accumulating debt that requires dedicated hardening periods, aiming for quality to be built in, not bolted on. Question 15. A stakeholder continually requests features that the product owner believes are low value and will distract the team. What is the most agile way for the product owner to handle this situation? A. Immediately reject the requests, citing team focus. B. Add the requests to the product backlog at a low priority, and articulate the rationale. C. Promise to deliver the features in a future release to appease the stakeholder. D. Convene a meeting with the stakeholder and the development team to debate the requests. Answer. B. Add the requests to the product backlog at a low priority, and articulate the rationale. When faced with low-value feature requests, the most agile approach for the product owner is to add them to the product backlog at a low priority and clearly articulate the rationale for their placement. This acknowledges the stakeholder's input without immediately dismissing it, while maintaining the backlog's integrity as a prioritized list of value-driven items. By explaining why other items are currently ranked higher, the product owner educates the stakeholder on the value proposition and overall product strategy. For example, they might explain that a requested feature doesn't align with the current market needs or business goals, but could be reconsidered later. This approach balances responsiveness with strategic product management. Question 16. A team is constantly interrupted by urgent requests directly from end users, leading to context switching and missed sprint goals. What is the best agile solution to protect the team while ensuring user needs are still met? A. Direct all end-user requests to the Scrum Master for filtering. B. Establish a formal help desk or support channel separate from the development team. C. Encourage end users to submit all requests to the product owner for prioritization and backlog integration. D. Implement a strict no interruptions policy for the development team during sprints. Answer. C. Encourage end users to submit all requests to the product owner for prioritization and backlog integration. The most effective agile solution to protect the development team from constant interruptions while ensuring user needs are met is to channel all requests through the product owner for prioritization and backlog integration. The product owner serves as the single point of contact for external stakeholders, shielding the team from direct demands and ensuring that new requests are properly evaluated against the overall product strategy and current sprint commitments. This approach prevents context switching and allows the team to remain focused on delivering the highest value items. For example, if a user has an urgent bug, they report it to the product owner, who then decides if it's critical enough to interrupt the current sprint or if it should be added to the backlog for a future one. This ensures controlled flow of work and maintains team focus. Question 17. An agile project involves multiple interdependent teams. To ensure smooth integration and alignment, What is the most important aspect of scaled agile frameworks? A. Strict, centralized control by a single program manager. B. Independent work with minimal cross-team interaction. C. Synchronized planning and frequent cross-team communication and integration. D. Maximizing individual team velocity regardless of dependencies. Answer: C. Synchronized planning and frequent cross-team communication and integration. For multiple interdependent agile teams, synchronized planning and frequent cross-team communication and integration are paramount to ensure smooth alignment and successful delivery. Scaled agile frameworks emphasize the need for teams to coordinate their efforts, identify dependencies, and resolve potential conflicts proactively. This often involves regular scrums or program increment planning events where teams align on shared goals and milestones. For example, if Team A is building an API that Team B needs, their planning events must be coordinated to ensure the API is ready when Team B requires it. Effective cross-team interaction prevents integration issues and fosters a cohesive product development effort. Question 18. An agile team is struggling with technical debt, leading to slower development and increased defects. The product owner, focused on new features, resists allocating sprint time to address it. What is the best way for the Scrum Master to facilitate a resolution? A. Force the product owner to allocate a fixed percentage of each sprint to technical debt. B. Explain the long-term impact of technical debt on velocity and product sustainability to the product owner. C. Have the development team work overtime to fix technical debt without impacting new features. D. Document the technical debt and present it as a risk to senior management. Answer: B. Explain the long-term impact of technical debt on velocity and product sustainability to the product owner. When a product owner resists addressing technical debt, the Scrum Master's best approach is to educate them on its long-term impact on velocity and product sustainability. Technical debt, if unmanaged, acts as a hidden cost that eventually slows down development, increases defects, and makes future changes more difficult and expensive. By helping the product owner understand this direct correlation, they can make informed decisions about balancing new feature development with maintaining product health. For example, illustrating how a small investment now in refactoring a module could prevent much larger, more costly bugs and delays in the future provides a compelling argument for prioritization. Addressing technical debt is crucial for the continuous delivery of value. Question 19. An agile team decides to conduct a spike to research a new technology. Which of the following is the primary outcome expected from a spike? A. A fully functional, production-ready feature. B. A detailed project plan for the new technology. C. Knowledge gained and a decision made regarding the technical approach. D. A commitment to integrate the new technology into the product. Answer: C. Knowledge gained and a decision made regarding the technical approach. The primary outcome expected from an agile spike is knowledge gained and a decision made regarding a technical approach, rather than shippable code. A spike is a time-boxed investigation designed to answer a specific question or reduce uncertainty around a technical challenge, allowing the team to make informed choices. It's about learning just enough to proceed confidently, not about delivering a complete feature. For instance, a spike might conclude that a certain database technology is unsuitable due to performance limitations, or confirm that a new API integration path is feasible. The output of a spike is typically a clear recommendation, not a product increment. Question 20. A Scrum team has completed their sprint, and the product increment is ready for review. However, a key stakeholder who was supposed to provide critical feedback is unavailable for the sprint review. What should the team do? A. Cancel the sprint review and reschedule when the key stakeholder is available. B. Proceed with the sprint review as planned, presenting to available stakeholders. C. Release the increment without the stakeholders' feedback, as the sprint is complete. D. Have the Scrum Master provide feedback on behalf of the absent stakeholder. Answer: B. Proceed with the sprint review as planned, presenting to available stakeholders. The sprint review is a critical inspect and adapt event for gathering feedback and should proceed even if a key stakeholder is unavailable. While their input is valuable, canceling the event would delay essential feedback from other stakeholders and hinder the team's ability to demonstrate their work and discuss the next steps. The team should present the increment to those present, gather their feedback, and potentially find an alternative way to share the information or gather feedback from the absent stakeholder later. For example, they might record the review or provide a separate demonstration for the absent stakeholder. The review serves the broader purpose of transparency and collaboration, which should not be entirely dependent on one person's availability. Question 21. An agile team is growing, and there is a concern that the daily stand-up is becoming too long and losing its focus. What is the most effective way to keep the daily stand-up concise and productive? A. Limit each team member to strictly 1 minute for their updates. B. Have team members report only what they did yesterday and what they will do today. C. Encourage discussions about impediments and solutions to happen after the stand-up. D. Require the Scrum Master to direct all questions and answers during the meeting. Answer: C. Encourage discussions about impediments and solutions to happen after the stand-up. To keep daily stand-ups concise and productive, the most effective approach is to encourage detailed discussions about impediments and solutions to happen after the stand-up. The purpose of the daily stand-up is for the development team to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as necessary, identifying blockers. Deep dive problem solving, debates, or status updates for external parties should be deferred to a separate follow-up meeting involving only the relevant individuals. For example, if 2 developers identify a technical dependency during the stand-up, they would agree to meet immediately afterward to resolve it. This maintains the meeting's focus on coordination and rapid progress. Question 22. A product owner continuously adds new items to the sprint backlog mid-sprint, claiming they are critical. This leads to team burnout and incomplete sprints. What is the primary agile principle being violated, and how should it be addressed? A. Continuous improvement, the team needs to work harder. B. Fixed scope, the product owner needs more training. C. Sustainable pace, the team and product owner need to commit to a stable sprint backlog. D. Self-organization, the team should refuse to accept new work. Answer: C. Sustainable pace, the team and product owner need to commit to a stable sprint backlog. The continuous addition of critical items mid-sprint violates the agile principle of sustainable pace and undermines the commitment to a stable sprint backlog. Agile teams thrive on predictable iterations where they can focus without constant disruption, ensuring consistent delivery and preventing burnout. The solution involves the team and product owner committing to a stable sprint backlog once the sprint begins, agreeing that changes will be rare and only for truly exceptional circumstances. For example, if an urgent, critical bug arises, the product owner might work with the team to swap it for an existing item of similar size, rather than simply adding it. Maintaining a sustainable pace and a stable sprint backlog fosters predictability, quality, and team well-being. Question 23. An agile team is finding that their user stories are often too large and unclear, leading to confusion during development. What is the most effective practice to improve the quality of their user stories? A. Create detailed functional specification documents for each story. B. Break down larger stories into smaller, more manageable ones using techniques like INVEST. C. Assign a dedicated business analyst to write all user stories. D. Increase the number of acceptance criteria for every user story. Answer: B. Break down larger stories into smaller, more manageable ones using techniques like INVEST. When user stories are too large and unclear, the most effective practice is to break them down into smaller, more manageable ones, often using criteria like INVEST, independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, testable. Smaller stories are easier to understand, estimate, and complete within a sprint, reducing confusion and facilitating a smoother workflow. Applying the INVEST criteria helps ensure that each story is well-defined and ready for development. For example, instead of a story, as a user, I want to manage my account, it could be broken into, as a user, I want to update my profile picture, and, as a user, I want to change my password. This makes stories more digestible and actionable for the team. Question 24. A team has started using a Kanban board. They notice that work in progress, WIP, is consistently high, leading to bottlenecks and longer lead times. What is the primary Kanban practice to address this issue? A. Increase the number of columns on the Kanban board. B. Implement strict work in progress, WIP, limits. C. Conduct daily stand-up meetings to discuss progress. D. Encourage individual team members to complete multiple tasks simultaneously. Answer: B. Implement strict work in progress, WIP, limits. When a Kanban board shows consistently high work in progress, WIP, and bottlenecks, the primary Kanban practice to address this is to implement strict WIP limits. WIP limits constrain the number of items that can be in progress at any given time, forcing the team to focus on completing existing work before pulling new items. This reduces multitasking, helps identify bottlenecks in the workflow more quickly, and ultimately improves flow and reduces lead time. For example, if the development column has a WIP limit of 3, developers can only pull a new story into that column if one of the 3 currently in progress is completed. Limiting WIP is fundamental to improving flow and efficiency in a Kanban system. Question 25. An agile team is preparing for a new project. The product owner insists on having a detailed, fixed scope document signed off before the project begins. What is the most appropriate agile response to this request? A. Agree to the fixed scope to ensure clarity and avoid future changes. B. Explain that agile embraces change and focuses on adaptive planning rather than a fixed upfront scope. C. Inform the product owner that only the Scrum Master can approve the scope. D. Develop a very high-level scope document and fill in details incrementally. Answer: B. Explain that agile embraces change and focuses on adaptive planning rather than a fixed upfront scope. Insisting on a detailed, fixed scope document before a project begins is contrary to fundamental agile principles. The most appropriate agile response is to explain that agile embraces change and focuses on adaptive planning rather than attempting to fix scope upfront. Agile recognizes that requirements evolve, and trying to define everything at the outset leads to rigidity and wasted effort. Instead, Agile aims to deliver value incrementally through iterative development and continuous feedback, allowing for flexibility as understanding grows. For example, the product owner might commit to a vision and initial set of high-priority features, with the understanding that the detailed scope will emerge and be refined over time. This adaptive approach is key to delivering the right product in a dynamic environment.